Familiar sound. Not one I wanted to be making at the start of the first post game of the year for the 23-24 New York Knicks basketball season here. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the post game show. Unfortunately, not a happy edition, although certainly a night with some positives, certainly a night with some negatives. But we are talking about a loss here. A 108-104 defeat at the hands of the Boston Celtics at home at Madison Square Garden. A lot to talk about, a lot to discuss, a lot to dig into. There's going to be good to take away from this game. There's certainly going to be some frustrations to have after this game. But before I get into any of that, just a public service announcement. Never overreact. Never overreact to openers. 2 years ago, as the post-game video on the streets of New York City and 7th Avenue will attest, we thought we were on our way to something truly special in the double overtime win over the Boston Celtics 2 years ago. And that season turned into a fucking disaster. And then last year at this time, lost a heartbreaker to the Memphis Grizzlies, one that had every bit as good of a chance of winning that game as we did this one. And a little bit different because that was on the road, I guess. And there was also a little bit more uncertainty about this team and slightly different feel to this year. But lost that game and ended up having the best year, or one of the two best years they've had in the last 20. So a loss tonight certainly does not mean that, this year is not going to go well or that this team is not going to be able to do some nice things this season. And I think, and listen, like a lot of close losses. I think Andrew said it at the end of our simulcast on YouTube. Shout out to everybody who's watching that. How you see this game is a Rorschach test in terms of, do you want to come out of this game with glass half empty? Do you want to come out of this game glass half full? And the interesting thing is that there are things that are like one stat can both give you justification for coming out of this glass half empty and glass half full. So I think there are a few ones that we could go to first. For me, I think the obvious one is 11 for 43. Combined field goal shooting for Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. Those guys, I don't know. I don't think Andrew's going to have time to do this while he's also, wrangling in the comments for our post game. But I would be shocked if at any point last season, Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle combined to shoot worse than they did in this game. So 11 for 44
on it.
11 for 44 would have been an even 25%. So they were one miss away from being that. Although with the number of free throws they missed, let's give them an honorary 25% for the game. Like, find me any NBA team, regardless of the opponent, who is going to win a game when their two best players take over 40 field goals and shoot 25%. You're not going to find many of those. And if they do win the game, you're usually going to have something accompanying it that is like some other thing that is like a freak good thing. But the only thing accompanying Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson's terrible shooting game, and again, to like different sorts of bad games, like Brunson was taking a lot of the sorts of shots that he usually makes and was just missing them. Is that a hangover effect of FIBA? I don't know. Maybe we'll get into it later. Julius was a little bit more of a process thing, which is why the Julius part of it, I think more the Julius that, like, we know Jalen Brunson's gonna be good. The Julius part of it was more like, do you put this in the glass half empty or the glass half full? I grouped them both together. They're both allowed to have an off game. It just sucks that they both had an off game on the same night. But getting back to what I was saying, usually if a team wins a game like that, or if a team is even close in a game like that, they're going to have something else that is like very out of the ordinary good happening for them. Meanwhile, the Knicks went to the free throw line 26 times and they made 14. So 25% from your two best players, when your two best players shoot over 20 shots each. And you make about half of your free throws. That's a recipe against a team like the Boston Celtics to absolutely get destroyed. Especially when you look at the Celtics and you're like, okay, well, if Brunson and Randle shot like that, and the Knicks shot like that from the free throw line, well, the fact that this was a 4-point loss must mean that one or more likely several key Celtics had awful games. And then you look at it, Jason Tatum, 34 points on 22 shots. Kristaps Porzingis, absolutely owned the Knicks in this game in every way. Defensively, offensively, that is the guy who, once upon a time, this franchise pinned all of their hopes and dreams on. We saw him fully actualized tonight. He was absolutely awesome. 5 for 9 from 3. The Knicks got their stuff together a little bit as the game went on, defending his threes. Didn't matter. Guy was just locked in, and he could do that because we've seen it here and we've seen it in Dallas, and now we're going to see it in Boston. It's going to be frustrating. So, those two guys both had great games. You want to tell me Drew Holiday shot 4 for 10? Okay. You want to tell me Jaylen Brown only took 11 shots, made 4? Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever. But Boston shot well enough. They were 48% overall. A little cold from 3, 12 for 39. So they actually missed some. If you want to say why was the game this close, Boston missed some threes they would usually make, only shooting 31% from 3. That's more. If you look at the free throw numbers for the Knicks and you look at Brunson and Randle for the Knicks, that's why the game was as close as it was. But that's not enough, right? That's not enough to make it this close. Something else had to be there for the Knicks to make it as close as it was. And it was two things. And I'm going to save the better one for last. The first thing is the thing that got them in so many games last year and won them many of those games and almost won them this game. And that was offensive rebounding. They had 17 offensive rebounds, I think, to 7 or so for the Celtics. Whatever. 17 offensive rebounds. That's the formula, right? The Knicks get offensive rebounds. The Knicks kick those offensive rebounds out to shooters. Yes, 17-7. And those are the best 3-point shots a lot of times that the Knicks get. And sure enough, a lot of their 3-point makes, and the Knicks shot well from 3 tonight. That was the other thing that kept them in the game. 44% from 3, 18 for 41. A lot of those shots off of offensive rebounds were their best 3-point looks, and they made a lot of those. So that was one good thing. And the other good thing, you know where I'm going. It's Immanuel Quickley, of course. Coming off of, we're talking about, this is 2 days ago. We're 52 hours removed from Immanuel Quickley knowing or finding out that what he does this season is going to potentially be the difference between him becoming, the only way some other team is going to be able to steal him away with an offer sheet is if they make him one of the highest paid players in the NBA, right? Or Leon Rose's bet paying off and Quickley just kind of having a good year, right? For him, a good year, but not something that is going to make another team go to the nth degree and say, we're betting it all on this guy, right? In which case the Knicks would get him back for the kind of reasonable number that they were trying to get him back for now. Well, one game worth of evidence. Looks like Immanuel Quickley was pretty smart to bet on himself. 24 points on 11 shots, 5 for 7 from deep, 4 assists and 6 rebounds. The numbers don't nearly tell the story. Nor does, I think, the plus minus for that matter. He ended up being -3 for the game, which is not indicative of at all of his performance. And that's partly because he was on the floor, obviously, to close this game, and he did not, other than 1 3 that he missed, it was kind of like a rushed look, and it was late, and it was after the game had already turned that he missed. He didn't get a shot off. I think, I don't know exactly when the last shot he got off was. The last moment that he made a significant play was when he got that big steal that turned into a Josh Hart 3 that would have been a 4-point play not Josh Hart, Quentin Grimes 3. That would have been a 4-point play if Quentin Grimes would be able to make a free throw, but nobody can make a free throw. So it didn't. But yeah, Quickley just didn't get the rock down the stretch, which I have a feeling is going to be the most pressing topic of discussion in this postgame. I'd be surprised if it was not, and that's valid. When you have a guy who was having the sort of game that Quickly was having when the Celtics were going under on pick and rolls, and every time the Celtics were going under on pick and rolls, Quickly was just firing away, and he made 5 of his first 6 attempts from 3. Like, you probably want the ball in that guy's hands down the stretch, and we'll go through what the Knicks did instead. But, like, you cannot have a better game than Immanuel Quickly just had. As Benji Ridholt said during our YouTube simulcast, the Boston Celtics are going to have this guy in their nightmares if they don't already. And they should. Because, you could, other guys had pretty good games. Like, Josh Hart had some nice moments. I thought Hartenstein had a really nice second half. Mitch pulled down 3 offensive rebounds. Nice job by him there. RJ Barrett, we're going to talk about RJ Barrett. I thought RJ finished 8 for 20. The one free throw he missed was not at the best time, but he went 6 for 7 from the line, finished 24 points, But, look, we make fun of RJ for those lines sometimes, 24 points on 20 shots, right? Classic RJ line. This was a better game than that. 2 of 5 from deep. Couple of looks you didn't love, but this was a good RJ game, But, if the RJ game that we got tonight was the second best game by a Knick, and I do think RJ was the second best Knick tonight. At first blush, maybe I'll reconsider, but I think he was the second best Knick tonight. Like, the gap between him and Quickly was vast. So, again, given that situation, you would think the Knicks shouldn't have been in this game, but they were, and that's all credit to Immanuel Quickly. 2 more things I'll go through, and then we'll get to the super chats. One is there were some calls, and it's like, look, when your best players do what your best players did tonight, and you miss as many free throws as you did tonight, it feels something feels icky about blaming it on the refs. I'm not blaming the loss on the refs. That said, there were 2 calls which were egregiously bad. The first one was Jalen Brunson actually got called for, or they did not call. There's a little confusion. I think Jalen Brunson got called for a flop on the play, which is when he went up for a 3 and landed on Jason Tatum's foot, which is a call that is often called a flagrant foul. It was not called a foul at all. And instead, I'm pretty sure Jalen Brunson got called for a foul on that again for flopping. That's horrendous. That's absolutely horrendous. There's no excuse for it, and you can't challenge a non-call. So it's like you can't blame Thibs on that one. It's awful. That's the worst one. I thought almost as bad though was Immanuel Quickly with a textbook verticality challenge under the basket on a Derek White drive. White missed, and they ended up calling a foul. Thibs challenged it, got upheld. White made both free throws. It was right as the Celtics were starting to make their run in the fourth quarter there. And I just was looking at it, and I guess they said, it Quickly went up straight, but his momentum took him. I thought his momentum took him backwards from my angle. So I just again, what are you supposed to do there? So I thought both of those calls were terrible calls. If both of those calls are called correctly, are we tied after 4 quarters? But again, at the same time, it shouldn't come to that, which is what brings me to the last thing is, what did they do instead of give the ball to Quickly down the stretch? This game was 101-95 with 3 minutes and change left. And from that point forward, so they had a possession where Randle went in. I have a feeling we're going to talk a lot about Randle this postgame. Randle went in for the umpteenth time around the basket, and for the umpteenth time, just nothing doing. Got blocked, but then offensive rebound kicked out to a Grimes 3. Good look, missed. Okay. Possession after that, RJ 3. Good look, missed. And then the next one, I think, is the one that I'll think about at least, which was they set up the play. Good play. Got Porzingis switched on Brunson. matchup they wanted. Brunson got a step on Porzingis. It wasn't exactly a layup, but it was the sort of look Brunson, it's if he makes an all-star team or an all-NBA team, it's these sorts of attempts that are going to get him there. I mean, he makes these things all the time, and he just missed, and the thing was like halfway down. And I thought it was a great look, and it just didn't go down. It wasn't Brunson's night. That's probably the one where you're like, well, maybe they should have designed it for quickly. Brunson had a shot a few minutes earlier, and he hit it to put him up 101-95. So it's like you trust your guys in the last 5. And then after that miss, there was another RJ3 that missed as well. Somewhere in there, you would have wanted to have. I mean, again, Brunson's not even touching the ball down the stretch, which a little bit of game flow, a little bit of Boston obviously putting good defenders on him and trying to prevent the ball from getting his hands. But if you want to go down with the guy that brought you. I'm not usually one to second guess that stuff, but I would have liked to see not even a shot or anything or shots from IQ down the stretch, but just the ball in his hands a little bit more. I think that's it. That's all I have to say. Again, it's an incredibly disappointing loss because the game was there. You're up by 6 with under 4 minutes to go at home. You got to win the game. And they didn't, and they will recover. And listen, it won't get any easier. There's a tough opening stretch, but they will go now to Atlanta, to an Atlanta team that is going to be probably pretty pissed off because they went into Charlotte tonight and lost. So you got a battle of 2 0-1 teams with pretty lofty aspirations this season. So someone's going to be 0-2 after that game. Not going to be an easy game. Would have been nice to get this one. The only, and again, one loss, one game. Don't overreact the whole thing. With how hard their early stretch of the season is, I think hopefully we don't look back on this and like, man, if they just could have gotten that one right, maybe it would have set them on a different course. Hopefully we're not saying that in a few weeks. That's all I got. And on that note, Claudio.
So went through the good old stat head, last year's box scores. Now, there may be a game I missed, but what I tried to do is look for field goal percentage under 50 and at least 15 attempts and just filter through how many times this happened multiple times in the same game. More than you'd like, but I'll just go to the ones that are closest. The closest to tonight that Brunson and Randle got was the Denver game, which was a matinee that the Knicks were trailing like the entire game and then made a run at the end. They were combined 15 of 35. That's probably the worst you're going to find him. Like it's the worst, the worst you're probably going to find him.
Yeah.
So tonight is 11 of 43. The closest you got to that was the Clipper game last year that we did a watch party at Penn 6 for, but not with Jalen Brunson because he was injured for most of that road trip. Instead, it was RJ Barrett and Julius Randle and Emmanuel Quickly when they shot 13 of 42 combined.
Yeah, and that wasn't even as bad as this. But no, it's specifically Brunson and Randle. It's specifically Brunson and Randle. And look, they didn't show up big. And the guy that just didn't get the contract, he did.
Yeah.
So,
can I see, before we get to Super Chats, the last thing?
Sure.
What did you think of the substitution of RJ for Grimes? Now, RJ ends up playing 36 minutes, so I don't know if Thibs just wanted to give RJ a breather and like knew he was going to bring him back in the game. But what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think like Benji talked about this on the simulcast. I think Thibs trusts Grimes more defensively as he should. He's been the better defender, but he doesn't have RJ's size. And so I think that's the main reason. Obviously, it gives a little bit more spacing. You're a little bit more comfortable with Grimes firing away. He made the big shot, and then as we got further down the stretch, he had another opportunity, and he missed that shot. So I didn't have a big issue with it. I didn't
either. I just wanted that it's gonna come up. So I
don't even like what that RJ should have come in sooner. Or that
RJ and Quickly were cooking, and that you shouldn't have messed with the. I think this is what you're gonna have to see. What you're gonna see a lot of this season with how many guys the Knicks can go to down the stretch. And I thought it was a good call. If you want to give RJ a minute, go to some spacing, get Grimes is shooting, and if you hit your free throws, which Grimes missed a free throw, Brunson missed a technical free throw, it's a mute conversation because the Knicks would have won this game.
Yeah, I don't. A lot of things to be frustrated about this game. Substitution patterns down the stretch are not one.
I didn't think there's some like execution stuff which you hit on. Like Quick can't go the like whole last 4 minutes without taking a shot. That's the only thing I got.
That's the coaching thing tonight.
Yeah,
like get the ball in Quickly's hands.
Okay, I've prefaced you. Enjoy the super chats, John.
As always.
Oh, by the way, back for his routine.
Oh, good.
Robert Cross at 5:15 p.m. So before the game.
These are great. We'll get through these pretty quick. Fair warning from now on, folks. If you say a super chat before the game or even before the game's over, we're getting through it pretty quick. Robert Cross, first time, long time. It's your boy John. Did you miss me? Can't wait to celebrate a victory with you, my guy. Let's go. Hashtag 53 wins. How'd that work out for you, Robert?
This is before the game ends.
There you go. Another one from Robert. I will only say this once this season. Leon erred in not extending IQ this offseason. Well, hashtag 53 wins. Look, you look smart right now. But again, just to repeat what I said on the live stream after he didn't get the extension. Worst case scenario, IQ goes out there and does this all year. No one's going to be happier than Leon Rose. Promise you that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean he didn't make a mistake, but yeah. Sam Garcia's dad trading IQ is a bad idea. I agree with that. Hashtag welcome back. And Robert Cross, is it fair and reasonable to say that we got 3 stars on the rise in RJ, IQ, and Grimes? If so, I'm going to be one happy man, at least for a few minutes. Hashtag 53 wins. So, like, we have to start being a little bit more conscientious in how we throw that word around. Stars on the rise, Like, it's 24 all-star spots every year, last I checked. And looking around the league tonight, there's just so much freaking talent. Like, this is what being a good basketball team is. You got guys that come up and, like, they look like stars on the right night, and they make star plays in the right moment,
Robert, if you want to just change the word stars to studs, that won't trigger John to say that he's not a star.
But it's called being quick. Let me say this. For Quickly to bet on himself the way he did, he certainly thinks that he's an all-star caliber player. And he might be right. We'll see. But it's man, to get the star label in this league now, it's tough. A lot of talent out there. Another one from Robert. First time, long time. It's your boy John. We can go toe-to-toe with any team in the NBA. We've been here. Hashtag 53 wins. They can. Go win the games.
So now we go to the post-game portion of the Super Chats.
Giddy up. Thank you, Robert, for all those. Robert with another one to start us off. Moral of the story, hit your free throws. Okay. Who Thibs closes with is going to be a dance all year. I mean, close with the best players that played the best on that night. Tonight he closed with Quickly, RJ, Brunson, Randle. And it's like, again, and I said this in the Substack chat from earlier today, which is that, like, different guys are judged differently. Jalen Brunson is at the top of that food chain, probably neck and neck with Julius Randle, where it's like, how good / bad of a game. For them, it's like, how bad of a game do they need to be having to not close the game? And I think Brunson's number 1 on the list, and like Julius is just behind him, more because of how this roster is constructed now, and they just don't have any size. So, it's not that Randle is Brunson's equal on this team, but because they just need his size, and because his size is such a difference maker for them out there. It's why you're going to see him. I'd be shocked if he didn't close almost every game. That was close. After that, I think it gets interesting because it's like, is it equal across the board where it's like Quickly, Hart, RJ, DiVincenzo, Grimes? I am judging you all exactly the same. Whatever you do over the first 40 whatever minutes, whoever the two best guys over that time are, I'm putting you in to close the game. I don't think so. I think RJ actually probably has the most benefit of the doubt of those five, maybe by a healthy degree. Then Quickly. And then I think of the last three, it's probably Hart. Probably Hart. And then actually I think there's probably a gap, and then it's Grimes and DiVincenzo. And I think there might be a gap between Grimes and DiVincenzo. We'll see. But again, I guess this is going to come up again. I don't have an issue with how he closed the game tonight, but that's just me.
Do you think Robert had an issue with how he closed the game tonight?
But I don't know. It says it's going to be a dance. Like, to me, it's not a dance. It's like who played well, outside of, again, with Brunson and Randle in their own category.
Right. So it wasn't who played well tonight. It was who of the two in the two spots he's going to have to dance around.
Exactly.
Who's going to play with, which was the point, I think, of the chat.
But tonight it wasn't a dance, I guess, is what am I like? There are nights where it will be a dance. Tonight, I don't think it was. I think it was very obvious that Quickly and RJ were the two other guys who should close. And that, but at the same time, like, are you really going to hate that Grimes is out there for a few extra minutes? Like, some people do, some people aren't.
Hence the dance he had to go to in the final 6 or so minutes. He literally danced. He went from a dance partner in Quentin Grimes to a dance partner in RJ Barrett.
To me, a dance in this we're arguing over semantics. To me, a dance in this context is like, oh my God, how am I going to choose? All of these guys are having great games tonight.
Mm-hmm.
One guy was having a great game tonight, and then RJ was having a pretty good game tonight.
Okay,
that's my point. Guy Huber, then what's going on, Guy Huber? $127 million for a combined 7 points. Our best 3-point shooter being forgotten in the offense again. I'm guessing you're referring to Quentin Grimes. IQ not paid, carried the team. Welcome to the 2023 season. Guy Huber then is already in midseason form. Gotta love the positivity here. I don't even know what he's referring to with $127 million for a combined 7 points, but whatever. Thanks, Guy Huber. Appreciate it. Guys, it's a game. Come on. One game. Barry Craver, what's going on, Barry? Who will be my 12 referrals for the KFS newsletter? Yeah, shout out to everybody, all the newsletter subscribers. Sent out an email earlier today. Substack has this cool referral program going on where if you're a paid subscriber and you refer other people who don't get the newsletter, you can save money. So, everybody feel free to go do that. Welcome back, KFS. All should subscribe. Thanks, Barry. Andrew was telling me that Josh Hart and DiVincenzo together make $127 million. Yeah, and part of why those guys are here is because they have shown the ability throughout their NBA career to be useful pieces on a team without getting a high usage rate. That's not a detriment. That's part of why the Knicks signed them, is because they're able to impact winning without having the ball in their hands, because one thing the Knicks don't need another one of, as long as they keep their current key guys, is guys who need the ball to be successful. They need guys who can be successful without the ball. I don't think Josh Hart played a bad game. Wasn't a great Josh Hart game, but he made a bunch of usual Josh Hart plays. I thought he was fine. And then DiVincenzo, rough opening game for sure. Maybe a little jitters. First game, Knicks, home opener, the whole thing. It happens. Whatever. Ben, what's going on, Ben? My good man. If a loss can be encouraging, this one was. I always love Ben's take. Very rarely do I find myself disagreeing with Ben. And I agree with him here. On the whole, stuff to like, stuff not to like. Pretty encouraging. Will Oliver, that hurts. And here's the other side of the coin. It's encouraging, but it hurts. But they did fight. Got to hit your free throws. Yes, got to hit your free throws. On the fight, I mean, again, for anybody watching along during the night, I was saying in the first half, like, Jesus Christ, just keep it within 15 points at halftime. I thought there were a few points in this game, couple in the first half, and then when the Celtics came out at halftime, so we had got within 5. Celtics came out of the gate at halftime. I think they immediately pushed it to 10. I was like, oh my God, they're gonna. This is not great. This game is gonna get away from us. It's what they did all last year. The Knicks, they fought, and then they fought some more. It's what they do. You know, it's the character of this team. It's the DNA of this team. That's not going to change. You know, it doesn't mean guys are going to have great nights every night, but they will fight. They will fight. They will not let go of the rope, you know, in a game or in a season. So that's good to know. Thanks, Will. The Reverend John Ortiz. Does this team not work on free throws in the offseason? So frustrating. Much love to KFS. Shout out to my 1-month-old daughter who agrees we should hashtag trade 30. Come on. Again, it's one game. One game. Look,
Hold on.
Right.
This is John from my wedding.
Which one's that?
The one who just had a daughter. The other Reverend.
Okay.
We say, okay, so you clearly don't remember, but the point is, like, this is his bit.
Oh, trade Randle.
He says hashtag trade 30 when he says happy birthday me. Like,
okay, got it.
So
it's not about tonight.
No, he's wanted to trade Randle since he got extended. Like, this is
then it's fair.
This is a bit. Like,
then it's fair.
Inhale, exhale. We got the thank you, John, and happy 1 month to. He just had a daughter, by the way. So happy
birthday to your daughter, or
happy birthday to your, happy 1 month to your daughter.
1 month.
And we got this far. Happy birthday to my dad.
The
other Reverend that's in my life. Happy birthday, Papa Claudio. Everybody in the chat, say happy birthday, Papa Claudio.
Happy birthday. Thank you for giving us, Andrew. Mark Fabros. If Randle's ankle is still bothering him, he needs to sit. I don't think this was his ankle tonight. I actually thought he looked pretty fluid out there. It's just the touch was non-existent. And I wonder if the touch being non-existent was a factor of him having a different sort of offseason. One where he admitted he couldn't work on a lot of the stuff that he maybe usually works on. I don't think it's the ankle. I'd be surprised if there was any indication of that, but you know, who knows? 14 points on 22 shots is not going to cut it. I mean, this might be his worst game all year. You know, hit one big three in the fourth. You know, give him that. Hit one big three in the fourth, but like, no, he's an all NBA player. He was absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Patrick Class, what's going on, Pat? Taking RJ out at 7:30 in the fourth and not inserting him until 2:30 and left in the fourth was an insane move. Insane. And I'm a huge Thibs supporter. Yeah, I don't know if I could say it was insane. Because to me, this is the yin and the yang of RJ. You know, where it's like his best value or his best moments still come with the ball in his hands, obviously. But he is still like, you know, guys are guys that you want in there because of what they do on the ball, and there are guys you want in there because of what they do off the ball. RJ is a guy that you want in there because of what he does on the ball. And when it gets to that point in the game, and again, they took him out with 7:30 left because he had almost no rest. So when they took him out at that point, they needed to take him out, right? And so once it got to be a few minutes, and then Grimes is in there, and keep in mind, during that time, Grimes hit an absolutely massive three. It was the three that put them up by 6. If he hit the free throw, it would have put them up by 7. Massive shot. Massive shot. And Grimes spaces the floor and strikes fear into the heart of a defense in a way that RJ does not. RJ was having the better game. There's no doubt that RJ was having the better game. But, you know, Grimes gives you a little, again, Grimes' value is a little bit more when he doesn't have the ball because of the threat that he gives. And then the bigger question is defensively, and Benji was talking about this, you know, throughout the simulcast. It's like RJ does okay on Tatum. Thibs clearly trusts Grimes more defensively. So who do you go with down the stretch? I didn't have a huge problem with it. to me, like, again, RJ, he finished the game 8 for 20. It's not like he was having a quickly level game and he took him out for that long. He was having an okay game, right? He was having an okay game. Probably the second best Knick tonight. Give credit where credit's due. It did not rise to the level to me, of being egregious. Reasonable minds could disagree on that. Dan Adago. We can play better, and that is a good Celtics team. It is a good Celtics team. It's a good Celtics team where shot 31% from three. Worth noting. You know, I don't think they're going to have, like, they put up 108 points and they shot 31% from three, and they took a decent number of threes. I don't know. You know, I still think that offense is going to be very good. And they're very good defensively. You know, they are. But I hear what you're saying. I think if you're looking at, like, well, how much better can the Celtics do and how much better can the Knicks do? If you're coming at it tonight, the second amount is bigger. You're looking at a Knicks team where you're like, they could do a lot better, whereas the Celtics could certainly do better, because 31% from three is not good. But the Knicks, we know the Knicks could do a lot better. But again, it's like, okay, you take it, you process it, still a loss. Hopefully it's something that comes back and we look back on this as like, oh yeah, remember when it was the first game and they couldn't play any worse and they lost by 4 to that really good Celtics team that was not terrible, you know? We should have known then that this was a great Knicks team. I hope that's what we're looking back and saying. We'll see. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you. Ja So Focused, one of our regulars. How you doing, Ja? Missed free throws, Brunson sub 40%, Randle sub 25%. And the Knicks still had a realistic chance to win. Frustrating, but can't be mad considering. Not mad. Not mad. I think frustrating is the right word. Frustrated, annoyed. You know, yeah, frustrated and annoyed. 2 good words. I like those words for tonight, at least. Really want to get that win in Atlanta on Friday. That's for sure. Dom Cappuccini. What's going on, Dom? You promised me you gotta limit yourself to 1 super chat per post game. Disappointed that they still have the same old free throw closeout issues. The win was there, and thus I am encouraged that the first win is a game away, and some of it has to do with better defense from pre-season and last season. Go New York. I thought the defense tonight had good stuff and bad stuff. The bad stuff was very glaring. Their confusion defending Kristaps Porzingis, especially early in the game, was highly disconcerting. That was not great. But I thought by and large, they did a nice job defensively tonight. You know, you got your couple of usual moments in terms of box outs and, you know, missed rotations or whatever from Julius. I don't want to pin it all on him. It wasn't just him, but, you know, his have a funny way of standing out. You know, a couple other ones, but by and large, they defended well. And that, you know what, honestly, if we're really thinking about this game in terms of big picture sense, Dom, you know, gold star for you, because I think you probably just said the most important thing, because the biggest reason this team would not be in that like mid to high 40s win range this year is because their defense just falls apart. And the defense that we saw tonight, I think, was a defense that looks like it should be okay. Right? Looks like it should be okay. We'll see. Hopefully, though. But I'm encouraged. And by the way, when we were really worried about the defense after that game against the Wizards, right, to end the preseason, who was not in that game? Emmanuel Quickly. Notable. Sorry. Had to make that point. Correct defense SC. Got to go back to who got you to the dance. That was Quick with the ball in his hands. Yep. JB with the ball down the stretch. Not tonight. Yeah. It's tough. I mean, look, I don't envy Thibs in that respect. Jalen Brunson had the fourth most like clutch points in the NBA last year, and it wasn't because he just put up a bunch of shots. He was efficient and he was good in the clutch. And he hit it. By the way, he hit a big clutch basket tonight. Like the basket he hit. Actually, I don't know if it was. Yeah, no, it was a clutch basket actually because it was less than 5 minutes to go, and the score was within 5 points. You know, and it was a tough look. Made it. He was great last year in those situations. Now, most of those games where he was great in those situations, he had a really good game leading up to it. Most of those games where he took over down the stretch, in addition to him having a good game leading up to it, it's not like there was somebody else on his own team who was having an outstanding game that played a position where it would make sense to put the ball in his hands down the stretch. It is to me more than RJ not coming back in the game earlier. To me, it is the biggest second guess of the game. Is the ball not being in Quickly's hands more? Hush Zoo. Same problem every year. Free throws. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it because it's like, is it something in the water with this team, with this organization? I feel like there were a lot of games last year where they made a lot of big free throws. There were some that stand out where they did not make some big free throws. The Bulls game I will never forget. But again, that was Brunson and Grimes. Those guys finished the year as outstanding free throw shooters. I don't think it's something with this team. I think it was opening night. I think it's a big atmosphere. It's your home. You're home on national TV against the team that a lot of people have picked to go to the finals. I don't know. I don't know. But if jitters had a little bit to do with it, I wouldn't be shocked. Anyway, other than that, our young kids look great. At least, yes, they did. Good game from the kids. We can say the Knicks should permanently open on national TV. I mean, they gave everybody a show tonight, did they not? You know, I don't know what more you could want. Well, a win for us. CJ2K, that IQ guy seems good. We should sign him. Man, it's gonna be a fascinating subplot of this season. It really is. The Stones to bet on himself, like he did. Can't underestimate that. Haitian Ferg, my man. Always my favorite super chat. I shouldn't say that, but it is. We beat ourselves. Can't miss 12 free throws. Amen. Second half was solid. Thibs coached well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Were there adjustments on Porzingis? Maybe a little bit. They ran some nice stuff on offense. There was a lot of possessions where it was not nice stuff on offense. Was it Thibs' best game? No. Was it his worst game? No. But look, I think to a certain extent, when you overcome the things that they overcame, and you had really one player on your entire roster have an unequivocally good game, you probably did something right, And I do think defensively, certainly they got better as the game went on, and yeah. So I mean, whatever. I'm always going to be inclined, as you know, not to have an issue with Thibs, but that was my assessment as well. Brunson and Randle will be fine. A lot of positives tonight. RJ and Quick balled out. Yeah, well said as always, Asian. Hushu with another one. This stings more because KP was the one who killed us. Yeah, I mean, he hit the dagger, right? Or he hit a couple daggers. I don't know. I'm in a weird place with KP. I mean, I was, as people love to make fun of me for, I was quoted in the GQ article about him a few years ago saying that, like, it was painful every time I had to watch him in a different uniform. Now, that was like pretty soon after the trade, and that was true. It was painful. Now, it's not painful to watch him in a different uniform. I don't hate him at all, which is maybe weird. I just think he's a really good basketball player, and I wish there was a world where he got a second chance here. Because he's really good. I mean, I don't know if he's going to make good on what his career started out as, because look, we remember what we were all saying in those early years. Like, this guy's a franchise changer. He's a franchise centerpiece. I don't think he's that anymore, but he's still damn good, and he could absolutely be. I kind of chuckled a little bit because KOC is a Boston guy, but like Kevin O'Connor tweeted earlier tonight, like, Porzingis is going to go down as the most underrated signing or move of the offseason, or something like the biggest move of the off. Whatever, he was praising the move. He's not wrong, like what Porzingis does for this team to open up on offense. But yeah, I mean, it's like, he was our guy until he wasn't, and it's been such a long time, and a lot of good stuff has happened since he wasn't our guy. And honestly, a lot of the good stuff that has happened because we sent him packing. And like, who knows? Maybe he wouldn't be the player he is now if he had stayed here. Maybe, almost certainly the Knicks would not be in the position they're in now if he had stayed here. So everything works out for a reason. But long story short, did it hurt that he was the guy that had the daggers tonight? Yeah, it hurts, man. Yeah, it hurts. Thanks, Hush. CJ Cervantes. RJ! Is Thibs on Ozempic? I don't know. I'm guessing it's some kind of a drug. Guys, again, RJ had a nice game. He was the second best Knick tonight.
He is imitating Thibs with this voice.
RJ! Oh,
yes.
I thought it was.
And then Ozempic is a rich people's weight loss drug. Like hydroxycut.
How do you know that?
Because I listen to more than basketball podcasts.
You don't skip through ads?
No, it's like, okay, Levitard's show, multiple pool of their guys are on Ozempic. And Big Picture has brought up, like, a lot of what actors do a lot is take Ozempic if they need to cut weight for a role.
I've never heard of this. So wait, does it make you...
It's like hydroxycut. It's like a diet drug that works, like, targets your hunger.
So why would Thibs be on it?
I guess you might think Thibs looks a little slim. I think it also does something to your voice that it strains it a bit.
Oh, I get it now. Okay. Listen, these pop culture references just go so far in my head.
That's why I saw you going into serious analysis. I was like, hold on. He is quoting Thibs. He's doing RJ. CJ, I knew it. I got you. Don't worry. And then shout out Alex from Hawaii.
I hate his KPness.
That's KPness for the people listening.
It says KPness to me.
It is pronounced KPness. That's a top 3 KFS moment, right? Someone hit me up with what the top 3 KFS moments are. Jeremy, as far as funny goes, Jeremy JFK is my one.
Well, it was a running bit.
Someone brought up you reading NBA Youngboy lyrics during the playoffs last year, and me worried that Ron Burgundy was gonna end this operation forever.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know who NBA Youngboy is.
It's a parade inside my city, yeah. You read the lyrics to that song on a show last year.
Listen, I say a lot of shit.
That is true. Cosign.
Greg, film stuff. What's going on, Greg? What's up, KFS? New York had this game. Yeah, we did. Especially after that Grimes 3 and the foul. We need to give this team time to get into a rhythm, but Grimes should have played more down the stretch, and I did like seeing RJ's ISOs and aggressiveness. So here we have someone saying that Grimes should have played more down the stretch. I thought one of the more insightful things that I heard tonight, unsurprisingly, came from Benji, which is that, and this is not a problem that's going to get answered anytime soon. It's because of the way this roster is constructed. Like, what Grimes is asked to do for this team, which is like, it's like he's where he doesn't play a lot of minutes, but he's also expected to be there, like, no doubt about it, floor spacer when he's out there, and to just like, okay, you've sat for however many minutes, come back in, get the ball, whoop, fire, trigger, that's it, done. That's so freaking hard. It's like they're trying to mash him into, like, they're trying to mash together two different NBA archetypes into one. Like, the first archetype is like the Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams bench guy. That's like instant offense, which obviously that's not Quentin Grimes' game, but it's like the amount of minutes he plays and like how when he's in there, the expectation is the moment the ball kicks out to him, he's just firing away like that. But combined with like, we want you to be our Klay Thompson, except Klay Thompson and like all of the other guys in the Klay Thompson mold. I mean, there's only one Klay Thompson, but like you get it. Like the guy who is like, okay, every opposing defense is always going to know where that dude is behind the arc because he could hit it from anywhere. Like, those guys get more time, and more than time, they get more looks. And it's like, I don't know how many threes Grimes attempted tonight. I'm assuming my guess is 4, 5. Let's see here. 6. Okay. So I was off by 1. But like he attempted 6 threes in 23 minutes. And it's the 23 minutes, right? So like, Grimes is a starting shooting guard that played less than half the game. And again, I'm not like where are the minutes coming from? Come from Brunson? Come from RJ? Come from Quickly? DiVincenzo only played 15 minutes tonight. Josh Hart only played 22 minutes tonight. It's not like those guys took Grimes' minutes. It's just, it is the reality of this team, which is why I said at the beginning of the offseason, when it was clear that they were going to make a move for DiVincenzo, I was screaming at them. I'm like, there's a 2-for-1 trade coming because there's one too many guys. Obviously, that didn't come to pass. But like, I think we can all agree that Grimes would be better in a role where he was just going out there playing 30 minutes a game, getting to put up 8 or 9 or 10 threes a game, if not more, and really get himself in the sort of rhythm that shooters like him kind of usually get the opportunity to get themselves in. He doesn't get that opportunity, which makes his job tougher. I don't know. It's a storyline to watch. It's a storyline to watch this season. Josso focus. Excuse me. JB sub 30%. I was about to say JB was pretty bad tonight. It's okay. We'll forgive you, Ja. Hush Sue with another one. Man, seeing RJ and IQ play so well is very encouraging. Both players who notoriously struggle at the start of the season can only grow up from here. I mean, you know what's interesting? Again, I'm going off on tangents here. Like, the Knicks very clearly have 4 ball dominant guys. They have Brunson, Randle, RJ, and Quickly. Very rarely will all 4 of those guys have good games on the same game, right? If you get 3 of those guys having a good game in the same game, the Knicks are going to win, And then if it's like, if you get only 2 of them, then it gets a little dicey because it's like, which 2 you get. Like, I think so maybe I don't know if there's justification for this, but like, when Brunson and Randle both have great shooting games and like just generally great games offensively, it's really hard for them to lose because those guys are going to take a lot of shots. And if they're having great games, they're going to make a lot of those shots. Tonight, you got an outstanding IQ game, albeit one where he took only 11 shots, notable, and a pretty good RJ game. And they lost, but they lost because those other guys had horrendous games. So I don't know. Maybe I'm talking in circles, but it is an interesting thing to me, at least, I guess, which is like, the Knicks do best when which 2 of those 4 players have good games, or like, who are the 2 bellwethers, right? Or is one of those 4 or 2 of those 4 or 3 of those 4, how would you rank their Speaking of making up words, bellwetherness, right? I don't know. I do know this though. Emmanuel Quickly always seems to be part of good stuff. Funny how that works out. Hamdy M, what's going on, Hamdy? Was at the game. First thing, Boston is so good defensively. Thank you for saying that. You know, Brunson shot what he shot. Randle shot what he shot. Boston had a lot to do with that. The lineup with IQ and Grimes without Hart was very interesting. Glass half full, my friend, in the end. So IQ and Grimes without Hart. So it sounds like basically what you're saying is like the backup group. I don't even know if this group played together. I'm now I want to go and look and see what exactly the 5-man unit you're talking about. That's interesting. But like, yeah, like those two guys, why wouldn't they be good together? They both could shoot. They both could defend. A little undersized, but I think their collective defense makes up for it. And again, the shooting, it's good shooting. Yeah, maybe we'll get more of that. I don't know. It would seem to be something we might get some of if we got more of DiVincenzo with the starters. Oh, yeah, Andrews, the fourth quarter lineup. Yeah. I forgot that Hart was not in there for that because, yeah, that's right. So it was Hart in for RJ initially, and then Hart out, Grimes in. That's the part that I forgot. It's been a long night. What can I say? Been a long day, been a long night. Yeah, I think we'll probably see more of that. Thanks, Hamdy. Appreciate that. True Story J. Randle, IQ, Mitch, 3 firsts for Embiid. We're already doing trades. We'll see. We'll have that conversation next summer. Dom Cappuccini, as expected, IQ shows up. Dom, you had him on the super chat. You broke your rule. As ugly as tonight was, this team appears to look better than the 44 wins I predicted. Proud fan, just stay healthy, please. Yeah, I think anybody who predicted anything in the high 40s is probably feeling pretty good tonight. Tonight at least, this looked like a high 40s win team, even though they lost. Again, knowing what we know about how Brunson and Randle will look on most nights, I think watching this team tonight and watching how they performed, you could be like, all right, that's a high 40s win team. Thanks, Tom. Chris Carter, what's going on, Chris? Thrilled to have Knicks ball back. The results suck, but I'm proud of how they fought. This team is going to be awesome. Free throws. Yeah. Free throws. And you should be proud of how they fought. Again, I that's the one point I feel like I'm not hammering home enough. I know we said this a lot last year, but they could have let go of the rope a few times tonight, and they obviously never did. So yeah, hit the free throws, guys. Hit the free throws. Just so focused. Mitch with less boards than KP is discouraging too. Let's check the videotape here. So Mitch ended the game with 3 offensive rebounds and 3 defensive rebounds in 22 minutes. Porzingis finished the game with 1 offensive rebound and 7 defensive rebounds. So, like, defensive rebounds, I'm not ever really going to go crazy about. Like, so Julius Randle got 11 defensive rebounds tonight. Or, excuse me, Julius Randle got 7 defensive rebounds tonight. Mitchell Robinson got 3. Like, a lot of times, centers, like, this is the old Steven Adams, Russell Westbrook thing during when Russell was putting up triple doubles every night. Like, Steven Adams his job would be to box out the real threat, whereas he would sacrifice his rebound, his stat, for Russ. I'm not saying that that's exactly what Mitch was doing, but, like, Fred Katz had his preseason column had some predictions at the end of it, and one of his bold predictions was that Mitchell Robinson would average more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds this year. That's in part because, like, most of the time you're going to see Mitch boxing out. Like, with Mitch, you want to see the offensive rebounds. And 3 tonight, he'll get more than that usually, but I thought Mitch was fine. Wasn't a great Mitch game. He was fine. Zach, what's going on? My main man, Zach Horowitz. Knicks played their asses off and got back in it twice. They did. Battled crazy shooting Celtics and horrific free throw shooting, and almost won, if not for a pretty corny overall whistle. You could blame the whistle. I'm surprised it doesn't come up more, honestly. I'm happy with where we're at. Let's go Knicks. Yeah. I again, mostly positive stuff tonight. Easier to be positive when it's only one game. They better go out and now, again, at Atlanta, at New Orleans, who won tonight, at Cleveland, back home for Cleveland. Those are the next 4 games. Give me 2-2. I'll just say that right now. Give me 2-2 for those, and I will be happy, man. Dom Cappuccini, I think number 11 had his Drew. Trey won't want it. Listen, yeah, well, we'll see. Trey did not have a good game tonight. We'll see. I think he finished like 3 for something. He was not good. We'll see how Trey responds on Friday night. Oh, and then I forgot the game after that at Milwaukee. And then home for the Clippers. My God. This is a hellacious slate to start this season. It would have been nice to get this one. Okay. Sam Garcia, what's going on, Sam? Missed free throws always come back to bite you. Yep. Completely agree. Juanon, thoughts on the Randle Holiday matchup? Off night or a recipe to guard him? This isn't the first time he's had problems with a smaller defender that doesn't allow him to bully him. So we talked about this a little bit during the simulcast. So Drew Holiday, obviously, when Randle gets a small on him, his eyes open up and he wants to take him into the post. That can be a winning recipe against smalls. Even Drew Holiday, who has a lot of experience, obviously switching against bigs. There was a moment that Randle had in the second half, I believe, where he took Randle took Holiday, backed him down, and kind of came across with his patented kind of like, sweep move, whatever it is, got the foul call, and I think he made the basket. He probably missed the free throw, but like that's fine. That's fine. You live with that. But at the same time, if you're the opposing team and you're getting that, and that's what Randle's doing every time, like you'll live with that if you're the opposing team too. So like, look, I think it's to make a blanket statement that it's a good recipe to defend Randle, I think is a little bit too much. I think he's smarter than he gets credit for. I think Thibs and the coaching staff are smart. Like, they'll always figure out different ways to counter what teams are going against them. But like generally speaking, where you're like, oh, Julius has to punish that, and he doesn't always punish it. You got something there, and I think it's something that teams will definitely go back to, and there is logic to it, because he's not that tall, and he doesn't jump very high, so he's still gonna have to work for it, and that sometimes goes well, sometimes it doesn't. Zach with another one. Welcome back to my living room, KFS. Missed y'all. Glad to be back, man. Wish it would have been for a win. Josso Focus. Maybe I should rewatch, but I don't feel the gap between RJ and IQ is vast. He was the only good Knick on the court to open the game. Maybe I'm not giving RJ enough credit. I tend not to give him enough credit. So that's fair. I also would have to go and rewatch, but I think for me, just the number of big plays that quickly made, defensively, how many big plays he made. Obviously, the threes. I mean, he hit 5 threes. You know, I mean, you hit 5 threes in a game. That's pretty freaking good, especially when you attempt 7. Um, and just the momentum. I just thought he was playing at a different level tonight than anyone else. But if you want to say that RJ was a little closer, how about this? If you want to say that like RJ was closer to quickly than RJ was to everybody else, like that's fair. I'll give you that. That might be true. Super based Neek. Dante and Hart feel redundant right now. Well, I don't know about redundant. I think they're very different types of players. I just think they didn't have a particularly impactful game. Hart had an impact at moments. Like, again, they didn't win, and he wasn't on the floor to close the game, so they didn't stand out as much. But, like, there was a moment that I wrote it down where – oh, that's right. Yeah. Josh Hart was responsible for a massive offensive rebound early in the fourth quarter. And then it led to a kick out to IQ, and I think IQ had a nice finish. Like Hart gets in there, he battles, like that's what Hart does. He's good defensively. You know, DiVincenzo's a different sort of guy. Like what'll be interesting to me is how much this team is able to tap into the things that DiVincenzo does well. And it's not an apples to apples situation to Isaiah Hartenstein last year, where the team very clearly did not tap into the coaching staff. Thibs did not tap into what Hartenstein did well. I don't think with the DiVincenzo, because with DiVincenzo, it's more like he could be a secondary ball handler, but you run the risk of turnovers. He's kind of turnover prone. Hart's also kind of turnover prone. So that justifies your point. But like DiVincenzo is here because he's a great shooter. You know, he gets steals, defense to offense. Like these are good NBA players, and they just didn't play great tonight. I don't think they're redundant. Lamar Jordan, what's going on, Lamar? A lot of those RJ shots came at the end of the shot clock. RJ should have had 30 in this game easily. Maybe. You know, I think. Yeah, were there a few shots that were not really his fault, so to speak? Sure. Were there some looks from him that were not great? Yeah. I mean, there were some takes that were not particularly aggressive. You know, he had some good looks from 3 that he missed. But it wasn't a perfect game. It was a good game. He had a good game. Can we just say RJ had a good game without it being like, oh, RJ would have had a great game if like this, that, or other thing? I don't know. Maybe I'm not the right person to judge. Todd Rahulik. Is it me or did Randle look noticeably skinnier? I didn't notice it. He might have been. I was also watching on like a very small box on my screen because we had a thing with playback going on where they were on a lag and we needed to put in a different stream. But I thought he looked fine. Physically, at least. Alex, it's weird that the Knicks won't pay their third best player $25 million a year, but the Celtics pay their fourth best player $60 million a year. Yeah, different situations, but very fair point, Alex. Jeremy Chase, weird game. We shot 44% from 3, but 54% from the free throw line. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? Randle and Brunson no-show. The guy we didn't pay goes off, and we still nearly beat the loaded Celtics. It's one game. We'll be okay. Jeremy might be my favorite comment of the night. Nice job by you. Todd with another one. Roster definitely has a logjam. What's the trade, GMAC? You know, Leon and Brock like these little moves like Rose and Hart around a third of the season in. Yeah, I don't think there's a little move to be made. That's the thing, right? They've made a little move every season. Even Josh Hart, right? That was like, relatively speaking, a little move. You know, Cam Reddish acquisition is a little move. Like you know, Derrick Rose kind of changed their season, but again, in the grand scheme of things, you gave up a second round pick. It's a little move. I don't know what the little move is, because the little, like, it's not like you're trading one of these rotation guys for an upgrade, unless it's one of the big three, and I don't think so. That's not a little move, right? Like, if you're trading RJ or Brunson or Randle, like, not that they're trading any of those guys, but like, that's not little. Okay, so if you're trading another rotation guy, and let's say you attach, a pick or picks or whatever, and bringing in a real name, well, that's not a little move either, because where are the shots coming from? So I think we're kind of out of little moves. That's the thing, right? It's to me, the move is kind of like a consolidation trade. And again, we're not talking about the move, right? That we anticipate next summer. You're talking about an intermediate move. I could see them making an intermediate move, but I don't think it's gonna be little. I think you're talking about a consolidation trade, where you got, maybe a couple rotation guys going out, maybe an important rotation guy going out. I don't see an obvious one right now, but we'll see. Frank Miranda, what's up, Mac? It's your boy Frank from Patreon. Can't believe I'm agreeing with the RJ Hive. He should have been back in the game earlier in the fourth. Well, if you say he should have been back in the game earlier in the fourth, when we know he should have been back in the game earlier in the fourth. Oh, by the way, what's his effective field goal percentage after tonight? Hashtag I didn't forget. Look, we said it all last year. When you lose, everything's on the table, right? Don't think it's why they lost. Certainly fair to criticize. Thanks, Frank. Josh so focused. Hashtag let's talk about RJ. We always talk about RJ. He's the one guy we're always going to talk about. Good, bad, or indifferent. We're always going to talk about RJ. Jordo 1334. RJ best plus minus tonight is a great sign. Hold on, let's give him some specific credit here. RJ's plus minus tonight, +6 in a game they lost by 4. And that was, by the way, in 36 minutes, which means for the 12 minutes that RJ Barrett sat, they were outscored by 10 points. A lot of that did come in the fourth quarter. So Randle, unsurprisingly, the worst plus minus, -13. But again, don't ever make too much of game-to-game plus minus, because who had the second best plus minus on the Knicks tonight? By a point behind RJ, DiVincenzo. In 15 minutes, he was a +5, went 0 for 4 from the field and didn't score. That's another thing. He had good looks and he just couldn't make a basket. Throw him in with Brunson and Randle. Let's see. Oh, all right. Him getting 6 to 10 free throws a game this year is going to be huge for this team and put him in the all-star conversation. Man, for RJ to get in the all-star conversation, I think this would need to be a top 2 or at worst top 3 team with the all-star break. And yeah, I mean, he'd need to clearly be one of their top 2 players. I don't see it. I don't see it happening, but I would love to be wrong. Todd with another one. Hashtag KPness forever. Miss these post games so much. Yeah, I appreciate that and appreciate everybody watching. Can't believe we've been doing them for as long as we have. But it seems like it's part of the fabric now, so I don't know. That everybody enjoys. Ben with another one. Predicted 49.5 wins with today as a loss. Not worried. Okay. All right. Again, the next 5 games. You want me to say them again? I'll say them one more time. At Atlanta, at New Orleans, at Cleveland, home for Cleveland, at Milwaukee. Those are the next 5 games. Jesus. Would you sign up for 2 and 4? 3 and 3 without question. Thanks, Ben. 007 Angelo. Rokas isn't here. IQ is. Pay him. Keep him here. They might. Like, one thing we haven't spent enough time on, and I brought it up very briefly with Fred, is the possibility that they're just going to get to restricted free agency next summer and they're just going to agree to a deal. It's possible. Could happen. Not crazy. Alex with another one. Happy birthday, Pastor Claudio. Oh, that's nice.
Thank you, Alex. Also, would have been our last one. I was trying to make this the last one, but we had one just come in. Second to last one from the birthday boy. From my dad, a very lucrative super sticker. Happy birthday, Dad. Love you. Hope you and Mom had a good night. I'll see you this weekend. I'm sorry the Knicks couldn't win for your birthday. You're used to it. The Knicks losing on your birthday or days that ended Y. Although,
how about any day?
Just any day, you know. But yeah, love you, Dad. Hope you had a good birthday. By the way, RJ Barrett's effective field goal percentage after one game is 45. So Frank, you're still like in good shape.
What was the bet?
He bet that
if
if
50,
RJ
it has to be 50, right?
has to be 50 for the year. And if it is, then he has to, for an entire Patreon town hall, like apologize to RJ Barrett. And it's a written apology that Mensa wrote.
We could think of something better than that.
I mean, they were ready to bet money, and I was like, we're not betting money on this like fun thing we do on Patreon.
No, like Frank can. What can Frank do? Frank can.
This is very inside baseball, by the way.
So Frank, for anybody who doesn't know, Frank from Patreon, he makes a lot of comments on here. Is let's just say an RJ skeptic. He makes me look like Mensa when it comes to RJ Barrett. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And there's a bet that if RJ gets to 50 effective field goal percentage, that Frank will do a thing. I think maybe it's just as simple as like he could walk into the middle of 7th Avenue, during like a red light with an RJ Barrett jersey, and like, someone could take a picture of him, and I don't know, we could post it on social media. That could be fun.
Frank lives in Colorado.
So he could climb up to what's
Sorry
the
to
tallest,
dox you.
What's the tallest mountain in Colorado?
I don't know. The Rockies? I know the Rockies is like
it's a mountain range.
The Rocky Mountains, though, like the Rockies.
Well, yes.
One of them. You're looking at me like I should know the geography of Colorado.
Frank
and its mountain ranges.
Frank could pick a Rocky Mountain, climb up to the top of it, wearing an RJ jersey.
Wearing an RJ jersey. Okay. Are we supplying the RJ jersey?
I like how your concern is, are we supplying the RJ jersey, not how the fuck is Frank getting up to the top of a mountain?
Business first. Or we just have him read an apology out of town hall.
At the top of a mountain.
Yes.
One more. Bizzy.
Two
more. Want to increase my win prediction. Very encouraging loss. What? Hold on. I wrote shit. What did I do with that card?
I think he and you had lower-ish predictions, like 45.
45.
Yes. Now that's your town hall prediction. Your public one that we put
was 47.
Twitter
right?
was 47.
Whatever. 45, 46, 47. They'll be somewhere in there.
But to Bizzy's point, very encouraging loss. So maybe you both should reconsider the 47.
I feel very safe and secure in the mid-40s.
I feel less secure about 50. I'll just say that. Although I agree, encouraging loss. I will say, though, they really did go toe-to-toe. Like, there was a point in that first quarter where we were both kind of thinking it, like, are they about to get blown out on opening night? And then, the way they fought back, we were like, just keep it under 15 at halftime, just keep it under 10.
Yeah.
Then they're leading in the fourth quarter, and I had this, like, this is what a Thibs team does. This is what this team does,
They should. Well, thank you for saying that. This is what a Thibs team does, because it is what a Thibs team does.
Well, this is the margin that never gets considered when the things that drive us crazy with him, like, the only reason they're in these close games is because a Thibs team keeps hanging around, as Benji was saying tonight. But
again, that's the thing that nobody cares about because we've taken it for granted at this point. But
yes, but that doesn't mean the things that drive us crazy can't drive us crazy.
They can. Yeah.
The things that get taken for granted also should be acknowledged.
Like I'm not gonna do a Thibs thing. But like they almost won a game in which their two best players shot 25%
Yeah,
field.
and they missed 100 free throws and didn't get a good whistle.
Exactly.
Like,
they were probably doing some other stuff right. I'll just leave it
to
at that.
Bizzy's point, this was an encouraging loss. I have the Celtics as the 1 seed this year. If their plan is just like take 43s, but the way that they took them tonight.
So hold on, because like again, that is a little bit of the Knicks defense where as the game went on, they were taking the threes that the Knicks wanted them to take. You can't always count. And then again, say this about the Celtics. They're still a team without what you would call like a true, whatever that means now, true point guard, right? So they're like them not being able to get out of their own way on offense is something that apparently they are still going to be susceptible to. I'm a little worried from that perspective moving forward. Some of the teams I have to play in the immediate future. Darius Garland, Trae Young, and Damian Lillard. That's all.
Yeah. Busy with another one. It's funny.
John, please don't do the Thibs thing all season. You know I'm going to what do we do? I'm always going to support him because I believe he's an important. Like someone has to champion the guy, right?
Even when he drives you crazy, someone has to champion the guy.
I don't think that's what bothers people that I champion him. I think what bothers people is that the stuff that drives other people crazy, like, doesn't drive me crazy.
I think it's when there's justifiable things to criticize him about.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Yes.
But that's not driving us crazy. Like, there are things that people get irrationally upset with him about that even I'm like, all right, you can't blame the coach for that. Like the read and react offense, a lot of teams run that, but a lot of teams would rather more creative offense that actually calls plays for Grimes, for DiVincenzo. It actually gets our shooters in a rhythm with more ball movement. And like, it's funny, De'Aaron Fox over the summer replied to a tweet and was like, yeah, most of our offense is just read and react. That's the greatest offense in NBA history statistically, regardless. All right, last one. Kind of a down note, but I like
Parrish Duggar. So. DiVincenzo and IQ is nothing compared to Obi and IQ. What crazy notion to lose IQ Obi dynamic and think we could win games. They're 0-82, Parrish Duggar. Brunson and Julius Randle no show. Pacers 143 points. Well, the Pacers are going to... Worth noting that the Pacers played the Wizards.
The Washington Wizards, who may have the worst defense of all time at the end.
Who may have to switch their name to the Generals at some point.
Obi Toppin, 11 of those points. So they didn't score 143 because of Obi Toppin. Also, look what Emmanuel Quickley was able to do when there's more spacing on the floor that the Celtics were able to honor. 5 threes tonight. So he wasn't always playing 4-on-5 on defense too, because one of his teammates was leaking out to try and get offense. I got this for you. I don't want this to turn into a thing where we're just watching I had the Pacers on my phone while I was watching, and then I realized I didn't want to watch the Wizards anymore.
But the Pacers are going to be really good. I think we're both extremely high on the Pacers, and Obi's going to be awesome there.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be incredible, because it's a situation that plays to his strengths. This was the opposite of a situation that played to his strengths, and it's unfortunate, but what are you going to do? Thanks, Parrish. That's it?
That is it.
Okay, there we go. This is a bummer. Would have been really cool. Would have been really fun to get this one. I think maybe the only saving grace is that I don't think I ever let myself believe that they were actually going to win this game, even when they were up by 6 and with under 4 minutes to go. I still was like very much. If I had allowed myself to cross over into that other zone, then I'd be even harder. But it's still hard. Anyway, we thank everybody for watching. Don't forget to, if you're listening to this emergency live stream.
Sorry, I have the one from the other night. Well, this was an emergency.
Emergency live stream. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to keep doing the simulcasts where you could watch us watch the game We had some fun with that tonight. I really enjoyed it, actually. I really did. And I would like to do more of it. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, do the 5-star review, rate, subscribe. Probably not in that order. And we will be back with, what are we coming back with? What's
So
Friday post game?
Friday post game. We have a pregame pod with
There you go.
Brace yourselves. Alex from Hawks Fan TV is making his return to Knicks Film School. He's my guest to preview the Hawks game. And then we'll also have a pregame pod before the Pelicans game, which I need to talk to you about off the air. So that's the next couple days.
I need to pour myself another bourbon for that. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.